So today we're going to be talking about how self-awareness isn't just something that you know, it's something that you practice. So I think a lot of people confuse self-awareness with just knowing what's wrong. Like they can tell you their trauma, they can name their patterns. They are even look honest about what they see in themselves. And that's real, and I'm not trying to dismiss that. But here's what I ran into when I first started my own self awareness journey. I had all the knowledge, I could name the triggers, I understood my wounds, I could explain the story behind my reactions, but I still couldn't shift anything. And what I started to realize was there's a difference between intellectual awareness and embodiment awareness. And one helps you to name what's happening, the other helps you to stay with it. And without that embodiment, without being able to sit with and feel the emotions and sensations underneath the pattern, you can't actually relate to those parts of yourself in a new way. And so self-awareness isn't just in your mind, it has to live in your body too. So what I want you to understand about this first level of self-awareness is it's important. Like it matters that you can recognize your patterns, that you can name what you are doing, where it comes from, and how you tend to respond, right? So to become self-aware, you have to first acknowledge what's there. You have to be able to say, okay, I can see this. This is what I do when I feel this way. This is what gets triggered within me. And so for me personally, I've always leaned on, my mind. I wouldn't even say that I was an intellectual person, but I definitely use intellectualizing as a way to, you could say, survive. It became a way for me to like suppress my own emotions. Like I knew what I did. I could trace it back to my childhood. I could explain my triggers. And sometimes that did help me do something different. But what it didn't do was help me actually feel what was underneath. And back then I didn't have the skills or the practice to take that, you could say, awareness a little more deeper. I was using like self-awareness to change my behavior, not to connect with the part of me that was hurting. And so again, this level of self-awareness is necessary. You do need to know what's happening. You do need to understand the why behind it, right? But if you just like stop there, it's really incomplete from my perspective. And so knowing is just the beginning, right? All right, so now we're going to get into more of the embodiment of the self-awareness that you could understand in your mind, right? Now, your body stores experiences. When something painful, overwhelming, or unfamiliar happens, especially in childhood, and you can't fully process it, that experience doesn't just live in your mind, it gets stored in your nervous system within the body. And your body will remember, even when you can say your mind thinks it's already moved on. So when something similar happens later, maybe someone raises their voice, maybe someone pulls away emotionally, your body reacts not to just what's happening right now, but to what it remembers from back then. Now, this is where we can say, again, self-awareness has to go deeper than just what you think about it. You might feel your stomach clench, right? Your jaw tighten, your breath shorten, your chest lock up. That's your nervous system recognizing something familiar, and those parts of you are trying to protect you in that moment. So, like for me, I used to feel numbness, a kind of fog, a block in my head. That was my body's way of disconnecting when things felt overwhelming, or you can say unsafe. So once I started to pay attention to my body, not just my thoughts about it, I started to notice those patterns more so in real time, right? And here's the thing, right? Self-awareness alone isn't enough. You have to practice staying with those sensations. And so embodiment isn't a concept, it's a commitment, a daily, you can say, relationship with the parts of you that still carry the impact of what you've been through. And so it's really sitting with the tight chest instead of running from it. It's feeling fear in your stomach and choosing not to judge it. It's breathing into the numbness, not to fix it, but to simply say, I'm here with you. And all of this is a practice. It's a practice of presence and not about perfection. And here's what the practice is really about. It's really about self-love. It's to love yourself. It's to take all the parts of yourself, especially the ones you are tempted to reject, and to see them, hear them, feel them, and understand them. It's about taking positive ownership of those parts so you can begin to value them, appreciate them, and do right by them. And I think because, those parts aren't your enemy. They are the ones that are trying to survive. And the more you build a relationship, the more you create this internal system rooted in love and in trust. And instead of one that is building on you fighting those parts, avoiding those parts, it's more so about, it's really what embodiment really is. And it's really that practice that can help you within that relationship with those parts of yourself. All right, so now we're going to be talking about practicing. So when I talk about practice, I'm not talking about doing something perfectly every day. I'm just speaking about do this at your own pace, and do this in a way that is honest and genuine. And what I want you to do is start to see your emotions like a compass. And these emotions are always pointing you to deeper truth. But most of us never got taught how to actually read that compass, which is our emotions. We got taught how to shut it down, push our emotions away, and be okay with not really checking in within our body. So we end up feeling disconnected, not because the emotions stopped, but because we tuned them out for so long. We don't even, recognize our emotions anymore. But your emotions are still there. Your body is still speaking. It's just speaking in a language you forgot how to listen. And that's what the practice is about, relearning how to listen to your body. So let me give you something simple to start with. So try this. Set a timer on your phone every hour or every couple hours. When it goes off, pause, close your eyes, bring attention inward, scan your body. What do you feel? Maybe there's heat in your chest, clench in your stomach, tension in your jaws, right? Don't overthink it. Don't try to change it, right? Just write it down. Tightness in your shoulders, write it down. Pressure in my chest, numbness in my legs. And after a few days, gently ask yourself this. Could this be an emotion trying to speak? Use a list of feeling words. Is this fear? Is this sadness? And then once you're comfortable with that, you can ask, what happened right before this feeling showed up, right? Did someone ignore you? Did a memory pop up? Did a thought hit you somewhere sideways? Don't judge it, just notice it within your body. This is how you start tuning back into your emotional language, because emotions are just sensations with names. And once you stop analyzing anxiety and start feeling what anxiety feels like in the body, you start speaking the language again. You can start speaking that language. And so it's not about, control. It's not about fixing anything. It's about connection. And feeling something, even if it's uncomfortable, is better than feeling nothing at all. Because it means the conversation has started again. And now you can start to respond to those parts of yourself in those ways that I just talked about. So this is why this matters to me, and why I think it could matter to you. Like I said earlier in this video, this is about taking all the parts of yourself, especially the ones you've rejected or ignored, and finally seeing them, hearing them, feeling them, understanding them. This is about, you can say, positive ownership of those parts of yourself. And when you start to value them, when you start to appreciate them, you stop abandoning them. And doing right by them becomes more natural. And that's when self-awareness becomes real, not just something you understand, but something you really embody. And once that happens, it could change everything. For example, in relationships, you don't react the same way. You don't take everything personally. You know when something triggers you, and instead of just lashing out or shutting down, you can pause and say, oh, I know what part of me this is. And when you can hold that part, you don't need other people to fix it. You don't need to beg for validation or over-explain yourself. You can express what's true for you without abandoning yourself to do it. And that changes the way you love and let yourself be loved. In your decisions, you stop chasing what looks good and start moving towards what feels aligned. You stop overriding your emotions to be accepted or to do what's expected. You're not making decisions from a wounded place anymore. You're making them from a wholeness place. That's the difference between choosing out of fear, unprocessed fear, and choosing from trust. In your inner world, you stop gaslighting yourself, right? You stop pushing away your own pain, hoping someone else will come fix it. You start validating yourself. You say, I feel this. I understand why I feel this. This part of me deserves to be cared for. And the more you do that, the safer you feel inside when you do that. You feel less scattered, less fragile, because now you have a place inside of you that doesn't run anymore, a place that doesn't abandon how you feel. And when you don't abandon how you feel, you start to build trust within yourself, and you can feel it. Also, you could even say, no matter what happens out there, I know I'll stay with myself in here. In that's the difference, a different kind of power. To me, that's what embodiment actually gives you, in my opinion. So lastly, so if you take anything from this video, just know you are not broken. Your emotions aren't broken. You don't have to figure all this out today. This isn't about fixing yourself. It's about returning to yourself. Self-care. It's about learning to sit with the parts you've pushed away, the parts that were never seen, never understood, never given space. And now you get to give that space to yourself, one moment at a time, one breath at a time. That's the practice. And if you keep showing up for yourself, you'll start to feel it, not just in your mind, but in your body, not just in your words, but in your presence. You'll start to feel that sense of, I'm here, I'm still with me. And that is where everything begins to change. So take your time. You don't have to rush into healing. You just have to stop running from yourself. And I can assure you from my experience and practicing this, you can say consistently, it definitely has changed my life. Awareness plug, I'm out. Peace.